Hi guys.
Hello.
It's Maisie from Show Low Public Library, and we're back in the Show Low TV studio bringing you another episode of Healthy Cooking with Show Low Public Library. This project is brought to you through the National Institute of Libraries of Medicine and the Charlie Cart Project. The library got a grant, and that's how we're able to come to you today. I'm gonna let my co-host introduce himself and talk about what we're gonna make for you.
Hello, Chef Smokin Bill again. We will be making for you today granola with yogurt and strawberries. We're gonna make homemade granola. One of the reasons we wanna make homemade granola is because homemade granola is gonna be better for you. We're gonna be able to control the ingredients to make it more healthy than just using store-bought granola. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could do that. We have our ingredients for our granola includes rolled oats. I couldn't think of the word all of a sudden. Brown sugar. Brown sugar should always be packed. It may not say it in a recipe, but you always pack brown sugar. You'll know it's packed correctly when it holds the shape of whatever you're packing it in.
So that means you kind of push it in.
Yeah, you have to press it in. I don't put my hands on it because of my restaurant training. I use the bag or something like that, or I'll be wearing gloves. We have cinnamon, vegetable oil, honey. Then there's a small gap because this will be going into our granola that we bake. And then over here we've got sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, and a mixture of dried fruit and of cranberries and raisins. We also have our strawberries that we will be cutting up today, and we are using vanilla flavored yogurt in our mixture today. Okay, so when we prepare this, we're gonna put our rolled oats in our bowl. We've got our spoon here for stirring purposes. We have our brown sugar. All the ingredient sizes will be listed on the bottom of the screen or in a item that's for you to look at. Our cinnamon, our vegetable oil, our honey.
Honey's gonna make it all gooey and delicious.
That is true.
I've already tried it, you guys. It is delicious. I cheated.
So we're gonna mix all this up. Now, because your brown sugar is in its form, you have to kind of break it apart to get it back to where it's powdery instead of in that form. Otherwise, it won't mix in really well. You want to mix this extremely well because when you pour it in there, the honey is going to try to force everything to congeal together. So your cinnamon's going to be congealed together, your brown sugar is going to be congealed together, and if you don't mix it well, you don't get that in each bite of your granola. And we want our granola to have all the flavors in all the bites of the granola. So this might take us a little while to mix this up. Now, if you're doing this as a family, we're not going to have Maisie help us much with the strawberries and stuff today. But if you're doing this as a family, you could have somebody cutting strawberries. And we like strawberries a lot. The recipe calls for a certain amount, but we really like strawberries, so we're going to add extra to it. Strawberries is one of my favorite fruits.
So once that's all mixed up, you're gonna have your baking sheet, which ours is like a small one, just a small square one, because we have a smaller oven. And so we've got the parchment paper on our baking sheet, and we'll stick it all on there so that it's ready to go in the oven. And it'll bake once it's all mixed up.
In the store, not everything's the same size. You know, some of the bits are a little bigger than the others, and some of them are a little smaller. Sometimes it's just a rolled oat or a nut or something like that. And that is something that you could do with this too.
Cute.
If you did not want to just stick with the standard ingredients, you could also add like chopped pecans. So it works for us. Again, we have our 3 separate ingredients here that are not added until later. We're going to put it in our oven.
How long does it cook?
And it cooks in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes. And that seems like a really long time for such a small amount of food, but that's a lower temperature than most people cook at. Most items in a professional kitchen, for instance, are cooked at like 350 degrees.
Yeah, I didn't even know ovens could go down to 300 until I saw ours, because I don't think mine at home does. I think it
Yours
starts
at home
at
probably goes to like
325 or
probably
something.
goes to 170.
I've never tried to turn it down that low.
Well, when you first turn an oven on, most home ovens, they go right to 350. You just have to hit the town temperature button until it gets there. Okay, we're going to cut the tops off of our strawberries, put them to the side, and I'm just going to do all of that right now.
While our granola's in the oven. Okay, so our strawberries are cut, and I think I heard the timer go off, so we're going to check on our granola, and we're going to pull it out of the oven.
Hello again. Oh, 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 it's hot.
So you're supposed to let it cool for a little bit, about 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then we'll break it up and we're ready to add our little mix-in things that we're gonna put in it.
I'm on the wrong hand.
Is there a right and a wrong hand for an oven mitt?
I'm
Oh,
right-handed.
your hand is the wrong hand. Okay, I was like, there's not. If there's a right and wrong way to wear an oven mitt, that's news to me.
No.
But you learn something new every day, so I would not be surprised if that was the truth, in all honesty. All right. Here, we can put it in the sink. So now we're gonna add in all of our stuff, which was the craisins and the raisins and the
Sunflower
craisins,
seeds.
sunflower seeds, and then the sesame seeds, which will go in. Then we'll mix it up. Are you laughing, cameraman? Don't laugh at us. This is real fake TV. We are doing the best we can.
So we've got it all mixed up here. I gotta get the oven mitt off.
And
so
Bill doesn't
drop
like
stuff.
raisins, so I'm gonna eat them because I really love them. Who doesn't like raisins? That is so weird. Why don't you like them? Explain it to me. Why don't you like them?
Because they're dead grapes.
They're not dead, they're delicious. I don't like them like in weird stuff. Like when people put fruit in salad, oh God, they're unworthy. But like,
All right.
just to eat them as a snack, they're delicious.
So what we're gonna do is we got our 4 bowls here.
If I cannot
We
get
should
the
have had
sugar.
5 bowls because we have 5 people, but that's okay. We only have 3 spoons. I'll use that spoon.
Okay, you're gonna do the granola
So
first.
we're gonna do some granola in the bottom.
What I need a spoon
And
for our
if,
yogurt.
and if you were doing this at a party, this would be really cool to put in like a glass, Parfait glass.
Because then you can
And you
see
could put
all
the layers
little...
in the bottom. That would be really cool.
So then
So we're gonna
granola.
put some of the granola in each bowl.
And we got vanilla yogurt, you guys, because we both agreed that we did not like regular yogurt, but whatever kind of yogurt you like, you can use that. Flavored, whipped, Greek, whatever you got.
And the brand of yogurt is kind of up to you as well.
So then we're gonna put some yogurt in each one, as long as I don't spill it on myself.
Some strawberries.
Top it with the strawberries. That looks really good. This is gonna be good.
Strawberries.
Let me do yogurt on this one. I wanna get yogurt all over you too.
Strawberries. Some strawberries.
Are you gonna put extra strawberries on yours?
Yes. Strawberries are lovely.
So that's what it's gonna look like when it's done with
So you
your
have your
granola and your yogurt and your strawberries. And we're gonna taste it and let them know if it's good.
And after we taste it, we're going to cut away. And then we are going to come back with a second portion of this episode where we are going to make something very similar to this, just using some other different ingredients so you can kind of have two shows in one. And we thank you for being here. Have a good day. Gots to eat.
It's good. The granola's got a good crunch to it from the brown sugar and everything, and it doesn't taste anything like the stuff in the store. It
It's
tastes
very
so
good.
much better than that,
Very good.
which is good. The strawberries got a little kick, and then your yogurt kind of mellows it all out. This would be good for breakfast or for snack time.
Yogurt's got the tang.
We're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back with another recipe for you guys where we're gonna be making a berry compote parfait. Hi guys, it's Maisie from Show Low Public Library, and we are back in the Show Low TV studio bringing you another episode of Healthy Cooking with Show Low Public Library. I've got a special guest with me today, who's our chef, and I'll let him introduce himself and what we're making.
Hello, I'm Chef Smokin Bill, and today's recipe is berry compote parfait. Before we get into actually making the recipe, we're going to explain some of our products here. We have strawberries, again, kind of like with our last episode. We had strawberries. We're going to have raspberries today. We're going to be using blueberries today. And we have two different kinds. They're the same brand, and they're American yogurt. We have the plain yogurt, and we're going to be sampling, and then we've got vanilla yogurt. And we're going to be sampling some of these before we get started on the recipe, just because we want to see what stuff tastes like. So we're going to start with our strawberries without any sugar on them, and we're going to actually explain what flavors we get from our strawberries.
Gotta make sure we get the tops off there so we don't eat none of that.
We don't want to eat the floury part. So we have strawberries here. We're going to taste our strawberries.
Oh, these ones are really like tart. Sometimes they're real sweet. It's kind of like grapes, you know? Sometimes you get real tart, sometimes you get real sweet. These ones are tart.
They got a little tart. They got a little bit of sweetness, which is why, and strawberries are really common to be like that because they pick them green and they're not allowed to ripen on the plant. Almost everything's picked green. That's why people like to add sugar to them. So we're going to set that one to the side. We got some raspberries here.
So I have a confession. I have never actually eaten a berry other than a strawberry, just plain.
So we have some raspberries here.
Oh,
That's really good. That's really good.
You can taste the little baby seeds in there, but it's not too bad. It's like the strawberry.
Okay, a lot of berries, the seeds on a berry are on the outside. The seeds on a berry are on the outside, just like these. The seeds are on the outside, they're not on the inside. Where most fruit has the seeds on the inside, berries have the seeds on the outside. I really like raspberries. Again, they're tart, but they're sweet.
Yeah.
You can also see the little hairs on them. That's where the seeds are at.
There's good texture.
Oh, these are nice blueberries.
Blackberries.
Oh, you got blackberries?
I got blackberries.
Oh yeah, these are blackberries. Blueberries are round and solid.
See, and look at that inside part. You guys see that? It's got the little stem. Is that what that's called?
It's the base of the fruit.
So it's got the little thing on there.
These are a little tartar than the strawberry, than the raspberries,
Yeah.
or the raspberries or the strawberries. We need a pot
Okay.
to put our strawberries in because we are going to make a compote out of this, which means what we're going to do is we're going to cut up our strawberries, we're going to cut up our blackberries into little chunks. Again, cutting them into, we don't want the pieces to go away completely, just kind of like we did back in March with our last episode. We're just kind of cutting them into little pieces.
So what's the difference between a compote and a jam?
A compote isn't as thick, it's thinner. It ends up being kind of like jam, but it's got a juice to it.
Okay.
And a jam is basically, it starts out as a compote and then they add pectin to it, which thickens it.
Okay. Okay. to help you cut?
No.
Are you sure? I got a baby knife.
Okay. She has the paring knife.
I have
it's
the
not
paring
a baby knife.
This is the paring knife, you guys. And he's got the big knife.
Yeah, what is known as a chef's knife, or a French knife, or a kitchen knife. While I'm cutting the strawberries, we'll talk a little bit more about yogurt. Greek yogurt is thicker. When I taste the Greek yogurt, it's not as tart as the regular yogurt. And yogurt's just like sour cream, cottage cheese. If you go to like the dairy counter and buy the creme fraiche, it is a cultured milk product, which means it's, best way to describe it is it has a little bit of fermentation to it, which is what gives it that tart flavor.
Isn't Greek yogurt kind of chunky though?
Yeah, it's
Is that
thicker.
the right? Yeah, like I'm just picturing when I see people eat it normally, it's kind of chunky. So the recipe says we're supposed to use what, 1/3 of a pound?
1/3 of a pound.
Which when I was making this earlier, I had to ask Alexa, how many ounces was in 1/3 of a pound?
Roughly
Because
5.3.
the packages say ounces. So when you're looking at the recipe and then you're at the store, you might have different kind of measurements. So you gotta think about that.
Something else to spend a little time with. When you're selecting strawberries, I personally am extremely selective. I will pick up the package. I'll try and see through it without opening it, because I don't want strawberries like this.
Why?
They're white, they're not right at all. And it's okay. We sent you to the store to buy strawberries so we could demonstrate stuff like that. So, and see this one here's it's
that
kind of the
one's
same
not quite
way.
there too. It's kind of got a little bit of white on the top. It's not quite there.
And what I would do in that case is I would cut off all of the white. I wouldn't keep any of it.
So it's 1/3 a pound of strawberries, 1/3 of a pound of blackberries, and then we're gonna add some raspberries to ours because the original recipe just uses them as a garnish, but we think that there should be a few in there too. So we're gonna add some of those in.
We're going to add those to our compote. That way it gives it another layering of flavor. The more flavors you can put in your food, the better off it is.
And you can reserve some of the berries if you want, like the raspberries, for example, is probably what we're gonna do on the top or in between the layers of your parfait to give it a little something extra.
These are our raspberries.
So we're gonna save some to the side so that we can use them for garnish.
We're gonna cut these. We may not cut all of them because it doesn't call for it in the recipe.
We're just gonna cut in half?
Yeah, cut them in half.
Okay, so we're gonna cut in half. And all the berries are gonna go right into the pot to make our compote. And once again, we're cheating a little bit and we're adding raspberries instead of just using them for garnish. It's gonna give it a good flavor. We'll put them in there. And you're supposed to use 1/3 of a pound of each berry, which we figured out was, what did you say, 5.3?
5.3 ounces. If it's a strawberry package, this is a 1 pound strawberry package. So if you can do the sight math,
It's about 1/3.
it's about 1/3 of it. Raspberries and blackberries and blueberries come in a 6 ounce package, which means you're using virtually all of it except for like a little corner. So if you want to cheat, just throw them all in.
So the last of our berries is going in. And then what makes it thick is the water and the sugar, right?
What thins it out
Thins it out.
until you
not
bake it or
thick.
cook it. So we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of water. Turn on our induction oven.
I think it's medium high.
So we're going to set it at about 7, medium high.
Ours goes up to 10.
And we're going to put in, our induction burner. We're going to recover an induction burner here in just a second. We're going to put our sugar in it. We're going to set those to the side. We have our turner. Now, remember when we talked about this in the very first episode, I think it was the first episode, as we've done a few of them now. An induction burner has to have a pan that is magnetic. If the pan is made out of aluminum, it won't work. The pan has to be magnetic. They do still get hot, but they cool down significantly faster than a traditional oven. So you got your sugar, your water in. We're just going to be stirring it. And we're going to let it cook. The recipe says you need to cook it for about 2 minutes at first. So we're just going to keep cooking it for about 2 minutes. This is going to let the fruit start to break down a little bit, but it's still going to leave it solid. We do not want the fruit to be mushy. We want it to stay solid. So we have about 2 minutes.
Okay, so we have simmered all of our fruit. So there was the fruit, the sugar, and the water in here, and now it's all ready to go. You guys can kind of see it thickened up quite a bit, and there's still little chunks of the, like there's a strawberry right there on the top. So you don't want the fruit to completely dissolve.
Which you were asking the question about jam. Jam, they usually want the fruit like in really, really small pieces, so you don't get big chunks on your toast or whatever. We also, you don't serve this, you don't put it in here hot. So you have to let it cool. It only cooks for 3 minutes, but it still gets really, really hot. So you have to let it cool. And ours has gotten pretty cool. I mean, I can touch up here and it's cool. Okay, so when you create your parfaits, the traditional parfait recipe says you put yogurt in the bottom of the cup. We're going to take a spoonful of of compote to create our parfait. A little bit more.
A little bit more.
And then a variation of that is to put some granola.
So we're just going to sprinkle some of that on there.
Okay, you could have other variations. You could crush up cereal.
Ooh, like imagine something like Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch would be good in there.
That would be good.
That's what I was thinking of. Cinnamon Toast Crunch would probably be good in there because it would add a different cinnamon flavor. Okay, and then we just repeat this process. We add another spoonful of yogurt, another spoonful of our compote.
And we'll do a little more granola.
A little more granola.
And then we're just going to garnish it with
No, we're not done.
Oh, we're not done.
We're just putting some fruit, a couple of pieces of raspberry, a couple of blackberries in between our 4 layers. And we're only going to create 2 of these at first. Okay, we're going to put another layer of that, of our yogurt.
Some more of this.
Some more of that.
Okay.
Another yogurt.
Another one of these. Should we do some more granola on there?
A little bit of granola on top. We're going to top it off with a mint leaf to give it some color. But what you're wanting when you're done making your parfait, and if we were in a restaurant, this would be very, very not good.
But we're not.
We're not in a restaurant. We're making it for home to eat, so it's beautiful. But you want to see the distinct layers of each item in the parfait, so that when they look at it, they go, because when we serve restaurant food, you eat with your eyes first. I will give you an example. It doesn't have anything to do with parfait. How many of you have been to a Mexican restaurant? Fajitas are their big one where they have you eat with your senses.
Oh, because
first.
they're sizzling and they're hot and you're smelling it and you're watching it walk by your table. And
so they walk out of the kitchen and they've got this pan, a cast iron skillet, and the fajitas are sizzling. And so the first thing you do is you hear it and you're like, oh, that sounds delicious. And then all of a sudden you smell the fajitas as they waft through the restaurant. And you're like, oh, that smells delicious. And then they walk by with all these colors of the different types of peppers they used and the onions and whatever meat, beef or chicken or whatever. And they walk by with it and you look at all those and you go, oh, it looks delicious. I need one of those. And that's why when in restaurants we eat with our eyes and we eat with our senses before we actually taste it. So let's build a second one. So we have some Parfait, and we're gonna alter the way we put this together. Because how you put it together, we want a little bit of granola this time.
Granola.
And put it around the outsides.
Oh.
And I'll show you what I mean by we can see the layers. Now we want a little bit of the compote.
My spoon isn't very deep.
Oh, that's okay. You can build it any way you want. Hers was built yogurt, compote, granola, yogurt, compote, granola. Then we put some berries in the middle, then yogurt, compote, granola, yogurt, compote, granola. Mine was yogurt, granola, compote, so you can build it any way you want. I put fewer of the berries in mine than we put in that one. So building your parfait is kind of personal, but let's sample these.
See what it tastes
We
like.
might eat the whole thing on television.
We might. It's good. So I was telling Bill before we started, I'm not a big fan of yogurt because it's really bitter. And like we talked about in the beginning, plain yogurt can be not so great. Because we use the vanilla and then it's got the compote, it's this great kind of medley happening. Where it's kind of tart, but then it's real sweet. And then there's that creaminess from the yogurt. And the granola is really crunchy. I like the granola. So, from our kitchen to yours, we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.